Hello everyone and welcome back to Age of Nagash, which is of course a Sigmar dedicated channel. And in today's video we are going to be talking all things about the new points coming out for Warhammer Age of Sigmar as part of 3rd edition. And joining me, I'm very lucky to have, is going to be Alex Tubbs, who has joined us in previous videos. I think most recently would have been the Why Play Soulblood Gravelords that went up not so long ago. So thank you very much for joining us, Alex. How are you doing?
Yeah man, I'm all good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. I say that now. I'll be honest. So when I cover most of the new sort of stuff, I don't read through it first until I do a video, and I've done the same here. So a lot of these points I'll be seeing for the first time. So we'll see how I am as a Slaanesh player by the time I get to the end of it. And I fully believe that you've probably already dived into this yourself, and you've probably already worked out quite a few things because you've in like the world of TTS, at least, you've played quite a few armies, haven't you? So you've got a bit of a broad experience.
Yeah, I probably could pick up and play probably just under 10 armies, but I try and have a working understanding on all of them, just because when it comes to playing an opponent, it's easier if you at least know some of what they're doing.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. I'm the sort of person who plays with, faction dice. But what I will say is when we're going through this all, we're going to pick out just mainly just the key models to note that have either gone up massively in points or any that have dramatically gone down in points, which I don't think is probably many from what I've seen on the internet. But of course, guys in the chat who's watching this video, or also if you're watching this on demand later, let us know in the comments or the chat of this video what your thoughts are about the things that we're going over. If you're happy, if you're disappointed. Remember, if you're too disappointed, you can put it in the chat, but these points aren't changing for at least, I'm going to say 6 months, but knowing Games Workshop, maybe 12 months. Who knows? Will there ever be a winter FAQ ever again? Oh no, there was a winter FAQ also. I forgot. It just seemed meaningless. Right. Okay. So with that, we're going to start with one of your personal favorites, Alex, I believe. So this is going to be
Absolutely.
the Daughters of Kane. So what are your thoughts here? Do you want to go through them all? Is there some that you want to pick out?
I think in general, there's there's an overriding theme. So they the faction went up by 20% point increases, which is, I think, second highest out of all of the armies. It did need a points increase. Most stuff was pretty undercosted. However, it does feel like because of the broken interaction of Morathi plus bow snakes, the rest of the army has kind of had to take the points increases with it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just things like Doomfire Warlocks, which are we're coming into Age of Sigmar 3, where Mystic Shield is better, where coherency has changed. I was I could actually start running Doomfire Warlocks, and then they chuck a 20-point increase on them when nobody was running them anyway. It's
are you telling me people weren't winning games / tournaments with their Doomfire Warlock,
I genuinely thought Doomfire Warlocks and Hagnar was going to be really good in 3.0, and then the points changes came out, and I was like, nah, I'm okay.
It's a shame though, because by I said, the mechanic with Morathi and the bow snakes, that worked really well and almost too well. And it's not like they'll up some points here and then it'll force you to take something else. Like you said, Doomfire Warlocks could be really good. But then they've upped the points on those as well, just to make you not really encourage you to change play style.
Yeah, exactly. And it's still the best way to play it. I've played a few games now with Doc with the new points. And yeah, if anything, although Bloodstalkers have gone up 30 points per 5, because you're now potentially getting that charge phase shooting, they're a better unit. And smaller tables, your opponent has less bodies, all of this stuff, they're potentially better than they ever were. So it's just you're almost being pigeonholed more into a couple of builds, because everything else which wasn't as good has gone up in points just as much. Morathi only going up to 660. It's kind of, we've kind of got away with it there. She probably should have been 650 in 2.0. And so let alone now with points increases and heroic actions and all the other stuff that we all know about. Her at 660 is very good. a few things which I think got away lightly, which we might see more of now, is Bloodthirsters. I was really hot on Bloodthirsters before, and they've only gone up by 10 points. Reason I'm hot on them is 2-inch reach. With new cohesion, they want to be sat in 2 ranks. They, accept the buffs really well. In Hagnar, you could get them on a 4-up, 5-up ward save rerollable, so pretty defensive, and they hit like nothing else. So I think they could be really good. The Heart going down, I think we could see more of the Heart of Fury.
Like I've only came across when you have used it against me, but I can say like obviously certain builds benefit from it more. If you go against ogres, they're not going to like it and stuff. But I know like when you played against my OBR, and I was running a hell of a lot of stalkers, and I'd be like, right, this turn they're going to be +1 damage, and they're going to be the extra minus rend, and then just having that Heart there, just because you played quite castle build with your army anyway, it worked out really well. So I reckon we'll see.
Yeah, and especially as we're meant to be in this age of monsters. In general, monsters have multi-damage attacks, so I can see it being a thing. Very interestingly, Bloodrack Rifle at 95. I've been told that the war scroll basically hasn't changed for it. So for those that don't know, basically when it finishes its move, you roll 3 dice for the model it finishes next to. If you match, or for each dice that you match or beat the wound characteristic of models in that unit, you just kill one of those models. So it's amazing against like 2 to 4 wound models. And so now that having that move every turn, bound to Marathi, who you can't kill, is pretty big.
I remember at the time that came out. I mean, like I have no idea why, but the first unit for it to be used against came to my mind is like Ishlan Guard. I was like, right, they've got no way out of this. So we can see like even if there's no war scroll change, that it seems like there's going to be some significant point increases on these endless spells. So
one final other funny thing I think worth mentioning is Morgwith. So she's Morgwith has the same. So she's the Underworld's warband, whatever.
Yeah.
She has basically the same war scroll as a standard Hag Queen, and she has a little bodyguard unit that she can pass wounds off to. She was cheaper than a Hag Queen into our pre-points changes. She's gone up more than double. She's gone up 120%.
Wow.
So she's now too expensive. Like, you'll never run it. You'll just run a Hag Queen.
And it was kind of. I think that's sad because I think like it's nice when there's a warband that works out well, because safe to say, at least 70% of them are not even worth reading, and then there's about a 20% that can be good, and then there's about a 10% that can often be taken in lists. Like there's very, very little that are pretty good. Something that I notice as well are the Heart Renders and the Shadow Stalkers. Which one is it particularly? The sorry, not Shadow Stalkers. The like the Canary units. They're still. I mean, they've gone up in points, but they're still pretty damn good.
They're well worth taking, definitely. Again, with new coherency, they actually work really well as a screen because they come in 5-man units. I'm looking at 2 to 3 units of Canary in a list I write. Yeah.
I mean, I remember you brought 5 on for the battlefield, and it charged my Mortek Crawler and just killed it.
Yep, sounds about right.
I think that's how good it can be. I think it's rerolling ones to save as well. But no, that's cool. Anything else to say with Daughters of Kane?
Not really. I think it was a little heavy-handed, the points increases. As I said, it just pigeonholes you into a couple of different styles, which I'm not a big fan of because the book was so diverse on like first release. But also, they're still going to be one of the strongest because. Having more CP, having unkillable Marathi, and having those bow snakes, it's just very, very strong. Yeah,
as an outsider who hasn't played the army as using them, I think it was one of those things where when the book came out, there was quite a few units that looked like maybe they were quite cheap, but I feel like certain things in the book need to go up, and then probably not anything like we said, like Doomfire Warlocks as an example, and maybe not, and some things that needed to go up maybe not as high, but then there's like the Canary that could have maybe gone up more. So it's interesting how it's been done. I think heavy hand is quite a good way to describe it. I'm just gonna jump into the chat because we've got Rouse saying, it's a live stream. Hope you're all doing well, everyone. I am very well, thank you very much, Rouse. And then he's also nicely said, Agent Nagash, you've been cranking out content lately, and we love it. Yeah, I took a bit of a break because I went to see my mum last week, who I hadn't seen before this madness of COVID. So I think I broke my video every 2 days, which I've kept up for about a year. So that was broken there. But I think you joined for a bunch of them, Alex. We were doing like Warhammer community article videos all the time. Then it turned out a bunch of the articles were pointless because there was one that came up the other day, which was why the ghosts are going to win the next edition of Warhammer Age Sigmar. And it's just like, come on. It's just.
Do you want to hear completely off topic? But do you want to hear something completely hilarious? So
Yes.
Warhammer community today have released a video, basically telling you how to play the new AoS, and their cohesion rules are 2 models within an inch, not 2 models within 2 inches. Like for the video that they've made.
Oh no. Oh no.
So they've got like all like diagrams explaining like 2 models within an inch and stuff like that.
Oh god, that's like one of the biggest changes, and that's just like everything the community's picked up on and has complained or have said they're excited to try out, and then they just can't get it right. It's like the person who teaches us how to play in this new video doesn't even play the game, or the people who edit it or write the script. That's brilliant. Well, if we had time, this is going to be a long video anyway. If we had time, we would review that tutorial. So yeah, it's brilliant. And then you've got Elix saying that I can't wait for when we get to the Gloomspite Gits. Neither can I, buddy. I want to see Trolls 10 points is what I want to see. Not gone down, just 10 points. And then we've got Henry saying, hi, same as Elix. So yeah, he's looking forward to the Gloomspite Gits. So let's get a step closer to that, shall we? Because we are now going on to Fire Slayers. And for anyone who's just joined and stuff, we've got a great, what's the right word? A great chart. That's not right, is it?
Spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet, that's the one. So tell how well I know Excel. And it was made by someone on the AoS Coaches Discord. And what it does is it can show you, like in red, what has gone up in points, what has gone down in points in green, just in case you're quickly looking at it as a reference. And I'm seeing already that Fire Slayers have got quite a few greens. So that's looking pretty good. So is it, as someone who's played against Fire Slayers twice, which was 2 times too many, is it the Volkrite Berserkers that are the really good one? No, it's not.
Hearthguard.
Hearthguard, okay, that's cool.
And they're actually not very good anymore.
Is that because of coherency and
partly coherency? So basically, firstly, you run them in blocks of 20. Now you can only run them in blocks of 15. Secondly, you used to be able to like string them across loads of objectives and like cap objectives that way. Now, obviously, you can't with coherency. Also, Hermdar Lodge, the fight at the start of the combat phase, is a command ability, and it used to be that they would do both of your units at the same time, would fight at the start of the combat phase, but you can obviously only do 1 CA per turn, per phase. And then on top of that, they've lost Lords of the Lodge Battalion, which let one of those units fight twice. Basically, they've been nerfed into the ground. So,
and looking at the points, very good points you made there. And yeah, I can tell. Like I said, I didn't have a lot of experience playing against them, but I know they had like one trick. And also, when I said like, it looks like they've got quite a few greens. Actually, looking at it, it's basically just heroes that have came down and not the other like unit
magma drops, which are pretty bad anyway. I think like something maybe worth noting. Auric Hearthguard just going up 5 points. They get bonuses against monsters for shooting. So having some, it's been kind of talked about having some kind of gun line with Fire Slayers might be good. But essentially, they've gone from like sort of A+ to CB. In the new edition. So yeah, then it's no bad thing. They weren't that interesting, were they?
they like as someone who, as ages ago now, as when it came out, I can't remember which side of the story it was, but it was something like I either said to my mate at Warhammer World, or he said to me, he was like, which one out of those like 3 Fire Slayers in a cabinet is the hero? And it's like, and it turned out like all 2 of them were, or 3 of them were. It's just they all look the same, but I understand that's why people like the aesthetic. So it's fine. Yeah. But I mean, unfortunately, it feels like an army that would look cooler the more magma drops you have in, but then they're not hugely encouraged to use them on the tabletop.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. I've been played against them a few times now, and they're pretty bad.
I mean, yeah, I have a story when I had a block of 30 Graveguard attacked by a Magma Droff in like first edition, and it did a lot of damage, but that's like completely different, and I don't even know if there were points at that point. But yeah, so that is the Fire Slayer. Something else I just want to say when we're going through this to note is as well as we're looking at obviously the points, because that's what this video is, but we're also looking at like you've mentioned it as well, Alex, like unit sizes. What's the minimum unit size? Because that is something that's going to be quite important in Age of Sigmar, with how many times you can make, how many multiples and minimum size man unit you can add on. You know, like when you're saying, for example, where they Hearthguard Berserkers come in minimum size units of 5, so that's why you can only take 15 of them at max. So it's that's something we're going to look forward to in this, because if a lot of unit sizes still stay minimum, it's going to be quite hard to take them. Like for example, one I have seen is like, you know, Chainmast Horde, where you're taking, you know, blocks of 40 if you wanted to. They're still minimum size 10. Like, so it's harder to do that. Where we thought they could go up to something like a unit size of 20 to make it easier. So, yep, that is the Fire Slayers. And then we've got the Ideneth Deepkin, which I know is one of your favorites. And we're just going to quickly a couple of things in the chat. Ben, so this is Ben from the Discord. He's saying that can't wait to see the Hedonites. And I think that's a happy smiley face there with the tears. And then, I know it's not. And then we have Nathan, who summed it as just that painting Sigvald and using my tears to thin the paint. I mean, that's okay. So we're going to get to Slaanesh in a bit. And I've already been told what Slaanesh is like. And what I will say is when I did my quick review on the Slaanesh Hedonites book, point 2, when that came out, it was split between negatives and positives. And one of the strongest positives I could pull out of that book was, guys, you know, you've been overpointed for a lot of your stuff. So that means every General's Handbook going forward, you're going to go down in points. It's going to be great. Yeah, I was wrong about that. So it's just for no reason. But anyway, the Ideneth Deepkin, and I'm seeing a fair amount of red here, Alex. So what is your take on this?
Yeah, I mean, nothing. There's sort of two things which really change how Ideneth are going to be built. So the turtle going up 40 points is really good. You know, it's a monster. So you know, it's counting as 5 bodies an objective. It was already. I said in 2.0 I'd still run it at 400 points. So in 3.0 I'm still 100% running it at 380. So again, probably should have gone up a little bit more. And then I think we can all rejoice. Morsar Guard going up 25 points to 195 points. Still not enough. Yeah.
So I have so one of my best local gaming buddies called Jamie. Now he was in distraught when he saw them go up, because and not in like, oh, I'm going to be trying to be, you know, that guy and take a bunch of them and everything else. He generally doesn't believe they should be that high, and I'm just like, you're living on the wrong side of the spectrum when it comes to the meta on this, because
they're still cheaper than Kurnoth Hunters and Slickblade Seekers, like, and they are infinitely better. So yeah, no, they're getting there with their points, but still not enough.
They are. Namati Reavers coming down 5 points.
Yeah, you still. I think. I mean, maybe you'd have a block of Reavers sat ready to Overwatch, because at 9 inches they're actually kind of deadly with 3 shots each. But no, in general, you know, you're still going to see Morsar spam sometimes, and you're still going to see the classic, well, the new Broken Realms version, which is Ishlian Guard, Turtle and Sharks, and maybe an Eidolon. But yeah, not much has changed for Ideneth. They've kind of just sailed through AoS 3 without really being changed much.
Yeah, and I feel like Ideneth Deepkin, they've never not been like good, have they? In the sense of like they've always done all right. Like I know they, you know, since when they first came out, which I realized was sort of before your time coming to Age of Sigmar, but since their first book through 2nd edition going into 3rd edition, they've all, I don't know if they've been the top army, or maybe they have at certain points, but they've never been bad. Like they've always just fit in. Doesn't matter what points decreases, and I think a lot of it is to do with just how good those eels are. But it's like just like the base size of them and stuff as well, isn't it? So they can easily get to where they need to. So yeah, so that is the Idoneth Deepkin, and then so I believe we're going elves. Sorry, what we're doing? We're doing elves, dwarves by the looks of things, and then elves again. So we've got Caradon Overlords. So this, like most dwarves, is an army that I have played against twice, and I can only see one thing that's green, and that is a navigator that's gone down 5 points.
Yeah, I mean, so if we compare KO to Daughters of Kane, Daughters of Kane had a 20% increase across their army. KO only had a 6.5%. And if you asked people who needed it more, you probably most people would probably say KO. Like they were similar power levels.
I had more people complain about fighting against KO.
Yeah, more people complain about the negative experience of that double turn. Things like the ironclad with Overwatch now. However, again, we're only seeing a part of the picture. So as it stands, part of what made KO really good was their Aether Gold, which was basically like a once per game reroll hits, wounds, or saves. So like that ironclad, I think it was I assume it's on a 3-up save. Once per game, it could reroll saves. So they were really they could be really defensive, or if they really needed to attack, they could be really offensive. And that was all based off of triumphs. With the triumphs changing with the core rules, as it stands, they're a lot weaker. So we'll have to see where things like that go in terms of day one FAQs. But they've got away really lightly if their Aether Gold gets fixed. Really lightly.
Yes. What do you think about the changes for KO though, when people can just +1 to their save in the shooting phase, but they can only make it for one unit, can't they? So
exactly.
With all
yeah, exactly. It helps for sure. But I still think what KO have gained out of 3.0 is far more than what they've lost. Assuming that triumphs get sorted in some ways. If not, then maybe these points are actually a bit fairer.
Yeah, and do you think with the board size getting smaller, it's going to massively affect them when they do their fly high thing, or not really?
Yeah, maybe. Like, there's less places to because obviously they'd set up in a corner and then they'd fly off and basically not play the game of Age of Sigmar.
Play their own game.
I mean, the smaller board means that your opponent can get to you, or you can get to them faster. And so I think we'll have to see. They're still going to be one of the best armies. We'll see. I think I'll say on that one. It could go either way.
Yeah, I mean, like someone who I know who I play locally and stuff, his two armies that haven't really managed to play against yet because of COVID are Daughters of Kane and Caradon Overlord. So I'll be able to do a comparison and see what I think should have gone up more points.
So I just wanted to reply to Johnny in the chat saying about his Idoneth going up. It's worth noting every single army in the game has gone up points. It doesn't matter. Like the fact that Idoneth went on average 6% means that they are one of the least affected by points changes.
How much did you say Daughters of Kane went up by?
20%.
Yeah.
So I'd say about 5 to 10% is the average. So Idoneth, for their power level, have got away extremely lightly.
Because you said you would even pay more for Mozarcard. And how much experience have you got with Idoneth Deepkin?
I played them. I played them pretty heavily for a few months. Took them to a few tournaments and did well, things like that. So I know the army definitely.
Yeah, for sure. And then we've got the Never One saying GW can't make everyone happy, but they can make us all equally unhappy. I think that's quite a fair statement. But it's a table. I mean, I don't know why table sizes have got smaller, apart from they probably want to sell you a new board. But to reflect the table sizes getting smaller, they have made us play with less toys in general in a 2,000 point game. It would appear, which I don't understand because it's they want to sell models, but obviously I'm not a business
honestly,
person.
I really like it. There's so many more because of all the new command abilities and heroic actions and endless spells moving. It feels like in every phase, there's so many more decision points that if we were still playing the full 2,000 point games would take even longer. Whereas just having the slightly smaller armies means that games still finish on time, and you're actually a lot more immersed in the game. So I think, generally speaking, the points increases are a good thing.
Yeah, that's
It's
true.
always
And like,
unfair, yeah, which they're not.
and
But
yeah, exactly. And I know like third edition isn't out yet, but we have 90% of the rules available to us pretty much.
it's just the FAQs we're waiting on, which are actually going to be huge.
Exactly. So it's like I haven't played a game of what third edition could be, and I think a lot of people who are judging it haven't played a game either. So I also think there's a bit of a waiting game to, let's see what it's all. Don't what's the saying? Don't say you don't like it until you try it, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the Lumineth Realm Lords, and this actually goes to show they have quite a large model range now, don't they? Like
that's what 2 releases will do. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. 2 battle tomes in there. So no green. So what's the percentage on this? Do you reckon?
10%.
10%.
So high, and especially for Lumineth, who were always struggling for models models on the table. Like they were always a low model count army. It does seem that the points, I mean, not necessarily hurt them massively, but it's it's knocked them a bit. Things worth talking about. Teclis, he's gone up 70 points. Still completely bonkers.
Yeah.
Played against him yesterday, having that extra spell loss, and now he can teleport. You can't ignore him. It used to be the case before the second release that you could kind of ignore Teclis because he could only be in one place. Whereas now that he can teleport himself around the board each turn, he's just crazy.
I just like to say, I know Teclis is great and everything else, but I've only played against the Realm Lords once. And I charged Chaos Chariot into him, and I nearly killed him in one turn.
Wow.
But that was incredibly unusual rolling on both sides of the board. But is Teclis now arguably nearly as good as Alariel?
Oh man, he is everything that Alariel should be.
He's a good boy, but I think as someone, like I said, I haven't played much. Actually, I played I think a couple of games against them, but I haven't played much. Is Teclis like an all-include for Lumineth, or is it like you don't have to go this way? There's other ways you can play it.
So there's a lot of guys run Lumineth without Teclis because they don't like Teclis. And like, if you're very, very good with the army, you can do reasonably well with it. But like, this whole thing about Lumineth being S tier is, I mean, it's not rubbish, but like basically it requires a very, very good player to run Teclis very, very well. Without that, like if you run Teclis badly, you just get blown off because you've probably got about 80 wounds on the table. You just get blown off the board. And
the other thing with, I remember with their second release with Lumineth, one of the things that people were saying is that like I've got so many accesses to like command points, which is great. And then now we know you're losing your command points at the end of every battle round.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not quite as effective. And then you can't use as many command points because
certainly my game against Lumineth yesterday, he would every turn he would kind of got to the end and had spare command points. Like he just didn't have enough command abilities to use.
Yeah, because the thing is, you can't repeat the command abilities unless there's very specific circumstances.
Exactly. So like, he might redeploy, he might give +1 to hit, +1 to save, but like, if they're not charging, so they're not re-rolling charges. I'm going to definitely try to not trigger Unleash Hell. So other things worth noting, Wardens got hit really hard. So the Spear guys went up 25 points. Meanwhile, the Sentinels only went up 10. So while
people had more problems. People had more problems.
Exactly. I've had people saying to me that Lumineth are broken because Sentinels have only gone up 10 points. And it's like, look at the bigger picture. Like, you basically have to take Wardens if you're taking Sentinels because you need, firstly, for battle line, you have to have Sentinels are only battle line when you've got Wardens. And also you need something to protect your Sentinels. So, I mean, you could just as easily put that 25 points onto the Sentinels and say they've gone up by that much. So look at the big picture. Severith has gone up 45 points, which probably deserves.
Is that the Foxy Man?
That's the Flying Fox. Avlanor's gone up 55 points. He's pretty steep now. He was really good before. Whether he still is, don't know. Wind charges up 25. They were outside. Like if you didn't run them in the battalion, it was really dubious as to whether wind charges were worth it. I think without the battalion, probably not worth it. No, I think they've been hit pretty hard, personally.
And I think no one was really complaining about Blade Lord to no one up as well, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously only a few things in, but it seems like there hasn't been loads of precision to the points increases. It kind of feels like we'll sort it out. Maybe what they'll do is I mean, I'm not defending them, but maybe they've gone, right, we're going to up everything. And then, because if we up everything, then that means going forward, we can reduce points, like in winter FAQs and General's Handbooks, because what we get excited about is well, I know, at least I do, is when you look at this stuff, it's the green. You get excited about what's coming down in points and what can you take more of going forward. So if they start the edition with everything quite fairly low in points, then they can't really make us happy and reduce their points. Does that?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they're, as the Never One said, equally make us all unhappy, and then they can make us happier later. I'm not justifying them. I'm just saying that could maybe be what they're doing, or I am just giving them an excuse. But so that is the Lumineth. And then I just want to say that Poet again has been amazing and has chucked $1.99 to the channel. So have some money for continuing great coverage. I believe that's 90% towards you, Alex, but you won't be getting any of the money. But no, thank you very much, Poet. That's really, really kind for you, and I'm glad you're enjoying the coverage, mate. And me and Poet are going to do a video on dwarfs and stuff at some point, where they are in third edition, because he is a massive dwarf fan and I don't know too much about them. So going on to everybody's player vote army has literally the nicest experience that I've ever had. My win rate against this army, I reckon, is somewhere in, if I said 1 in 5, I mean, I'm being very generous to myself, because we have, and again, there's ways to beat it, and I don't play probably the best armies to beat everything else, but we have Seraphin, and I know Lord Croak has changed, but I still hate the guy. So what are your thoughts? That minus bloody, oh, that's Bastillodon with an arc. I thought that was minus 35 points for skip. I was going to say, what? Right, so obviously I imagine you've looked at this with the Seraphin. I'm seeing a lot of red and it's making me quite happy. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, they've been hit, maybe not as hard as they could have been.
Nuke them straight away.
But at the same time, they've had a lot of nerfs elsewhere. They can no longer run all those big blocks of skinks that they all used to be able to. You can only run a maximum. You can only run a maximum of 2 salamanders in a pack, rather than the old 3. Coherency's changed, so you can't do your skink conga lines. So they've taken a lot of nerfs and they've taken a fairly sizable points increase. I'm not sure there's anything that particularly stands out. Maybe things, I mean, some of their big hero monsters, it's weird, the Scarvet on Carnosaur. Yeah, the Scarvet on Carnosaur's only gone up 5 points, but then the Old Blood on Carnosaur's gone up 40. It's
what was the good one? Because I know I used to play against someone who ran 1 of one and then 2 of the other ones, and then suddenly I'm going to
assume the good one is the Old Blood, but is there really going to be 55 points of difference between them?
Probably not.
The Troglodon
seems like. Is there a reason why the Troglodon's gone up? I mean, I don't.
Possibly, so the Troglodon will kind of become an auto include with Croak, because Croak. Well, the Balewind no longer exists anymore anyway, but because Croak can't get on the Balewind, so he can put his spells through the Troglodon. So the Troglodon can run up the field, and then Croak can put all his spells out and just smash everyone.
Just with the Balewind as well. I had someone. I mean, I haven't looked into it much, so I don't know, but you might be able to give me a quick answer. I heard someone say that it's been moved to Legends.
Yep. So the GHB. As always, everything that's in the GHB is what's match play legal, and the Balewind is not in the list of endless spells that you can take, or the generic ones. So, yep, it is no longer a thing.
Cool. That's fine. And then I'm just trying, because there's so much here. Obviously, this army
exactly. I think kind of the takeaway is they've had points increases which were justified. They've been nerfed lots of other ways. They're still going to be one of the best armies in the game, but they're probably not quite as oppressive as they were.
What we think? Just one more thing. Salamanders. What are our thoughts? Gone up enough, or and what are they? 100. They've
gone up another 10. Yeah, they've gone up another 10. They could probably do with that with going up another 10 on top of that. But the Salamanders are a pain, but you can deal with them. Although actually, I do do worry about Salamanders on a 3-up save. That's quite difficult to work.
Oh, God. Right, that's just a problem for future me to deal with right now. And then the Ark of Sotek, or it's probably not called that anymore, the Basilium with Ark. I mean, that's gone down in points. I'd love it if people start bringing those, because I've never seen them with all the snakes.
Yeah, don't even know what it does.
Yeah, I think it's probably not this, but I think I remember in first edition, it's one of those things where it's like, once per battle in the combat phase, roll a dice for every enemy unit within 1 inch of this. On a 6, they take a mortal wound. It's like, why the hell would you give it that and not the laser cannon? Like, I think it was something equally as bad as that when it came out, and it's probably slowly got maybe better.
Yeah.
Right, okay, now, so from one big thing on to the next big one, which is probably the biggest. Yeah, look at all these lords. Look at all the... I mean, fair play to the person typing all this in. Like, Jesus
I know,
Christ.
right? I think it's
probably getting that spelling right every single time. Like, Jesus.
Yeah, I think it's probably quite difficult to talk about Stormcast just because we know they're getting a new book soon.
Yeah. So
like, we don't know whether this is the points that will be in the new book or whether this is based upon what their current war scrolls are, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I don't know if I have much to say on it because I'm not, you're just kind of waiting to see what the new Stormcast book brings, regardless of these points.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, everything apart from the Curse Breakers, is that a warband?
Probably.
I mean, if it's a warband for 300 points, that's quite a lot. So it's gone down to it, whatever the hell that means. But everything's in red. But that, like, don't be shocked because it looks like everything's gone up on average, haven't they? So
exactly. And they did. And Stormcast saw a very big points decrease in the summer FAQ last year. Very big decrease. So this is just kind of bringing stuff back in line with 3.0, I guess. But yeah, we'll just wait for the new book on them. It's only going to be, a month, maybe 2 months until we see that. Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if... so Dominion's out a week on Saturday, isn't it?
Yes.
So I wouldn't be surprised if this weekend they go, guess what, guys, what's coming out in 2 weeks from now? And it's the Oracle Warclans Battletome and Stormcast. Because I think the Nighthaunt and the Stormcast Battletome were the two armies that came out from the box set for second edition. I think that came out on the same weekend as that box set, so I presume it won't be too far away going into the future. I think they want to leave a little bit of time because they want to try and encourage people to buy the box set, people who can't wait the extra week. So because you get this set of allegiance abilities with the box, don't you? So you maybe try and encourage people to do that. And just going to poets saying that every child, army, men, or dinosaurs at Games Workshop with Seraphin. Why not both? Exactly. I mean, what is cooler than a dinosaur riding a dinosaur? And then he's also saying that Stormcast Upturnals because everything has gone up in points. I mean, it's just a huge war of red, but there's not a lot of points here. It's all like on average between 5 and 20. So it's not too bad. And then we got Sylvaneth, who arguably should all be green. It would be thematic and would be needed. But, Dryads are below 100 points now.
Tree Revenants staying at 80 is actually really good.
Are they? They're not changed?
Nope.
Okay, if anything was to go up, I thought maybe it would be that. So,
also, I mean, Dreicher at 330 is very playable. I'm 100% running her in my Living City stuff. So she's very good. Dirthu even, he's gone up 40, but he's got a lot of ways to make himself better. But
how much is Malarial? Has she gone up since that Kragnus?
No, so that just takes into account so she's 740, which is what she was when she came out in Broken Realms.
Cool.
Tree Lords are very cheap monsters if you want some cheap monsters at 180.
I mean, what I can say of a Tree Lord, I heard people say bad things about them. I charged a Tree Lord with 3 Varangard. 3 Varangard on full health, so that's 15 wounds at 3-up save. The Tree Lord ended up doing 23 damage to them because it was Winterleaf. For its 3d6 attacks, it rolled 6s, so that exploded. I failed all my saves, and it just, from something that I was like, charge, I don't have to attack with that first go of Archaon, that's more fun to, right, well, you never slag up for Tree Lord. Especially with, obviously, monstrous rampages and stuff, it can be, like you say, made better. But yeah, I mean, just looking at it briefly, I feel like probably everything wasn't justified here going up in points, but they've made everything go up in points, haven't they? They've got more green in quite a few things. So another big one is going to, and just to say, because I know we have a lot more people join us now, let us know your thoughts in the chat or the comments of this video as well. So it will be good to hear what your thoughts on it compared to just mine and Alex's. So we've got City of Sigmar, obviously a huge faction that I think you've mainly got Living City experience of them. Is that correct?
Yeah. I've run bits of Hammer Hall and other stuff as well. But yeah, no, Cities is my first love.
Charybdis has gone down 5 points. Yes. And that's so I'm just going to get
gone down. Kragnos has gone down loads.
Kragnos? I can't say it. Charybdis, you know the Hydra thing.
Oh, Charybdis.
Charybdis. Yeah. You know the thing that was arguably broken if taken in Ambleguard. No, obviously, just a monster that I thought was cool when I was younger, and still never usable really in the game. But it's got like a I know this is going on a rampage about the Charybdis, but it's got like a debuff to enemies' bravery. So it could be you take 4 of them, and one of them might do something. But okay, with that taken aside, what would you say stands out to you that we've got here?
So cities have actually done really well. They've only gained 3% on average across the army. So they're one of the least touched factions in terms of points changes. Their monsters have generally actually gone down in points, which is really rare to see. Because obviously hero monsters especially are better. So Frostheart Phoenix has gone down 5 points. The Flamespire has gone down 10, although the Flamespire has got worse because of normal moves changing.
Right.
Quite a funny little thing. There's actually now an argument to take the Battle Mage on Griffin because the Battle Mage on Griffin is from Gur, and when it fights in Gur, it gets +1 to cast. And obviously, Gur is where this is set for the GHB.
That's true. Yeah, okay.
So maybe there's at that point a hero monster. Maybe there's an argument now to take it. But yeah, especially the Phoenixes, that Frostheart Phoenix going down 5 points.
It was already
really good. It was
yeah.
already really good. A -1 wound -1 to wound aura, especially in 3.0 where there isn't really still many ways to give +1 to wound, is really, really strong. Celestial Hurricanum stayed the same points. That was pretty much an auto included in most cities list. Just left the same. Don't know why. It's exceptional. It's just got even better. What else was there? Phoenix Guard, which most lists have gone up 15 points. Probably fair.
Yeah, that's not a surprise.
Iron Drake's only up 10 points, which is scary. Iron Drake's with Overwatch is really, really scary, especially when I'm looking in Living City at just bringing on a unit of Aether Wings that I can redeploy ahead of them as a screen and then have them shooting, charge phase shooting, and then shooting again, by which point your opponent's whole army's dead.
Yeah.
So I think we'll see a lot more. I mean, we saw quite a few Iron Drakes already, but I think we'll see even more of them. But yeah, I think they're kind of the big ones.
I've spotted one.
The Dragon going down 10 points, especially now you've got, in cities you can take the generic even artifact for 5 up Feel No Pain on that Dragon.
That's pretty good.
So the Dragon was already good in a few builds.
You got Griffins came down 15 points. Deal general.
Yeah, the Griffin was probably a bit overcosted, so that's good. As I said, cities is in a very sat in a pretty good position, I think, right now.
So the last one I'd say, Wildwood Rangers have gone up 5 points. Is that enough of a points increase to make you not auto improve them?
You joke, but they're 2 damage against monsters, and we are in the age of
Oh
monsters.
yeah, okay, right, yeah.
Maybe they become good now. I don't think they do, but maybe.
What else? Wild Riders came down 10 points. Do they get a bonus against monsters?
They just ultimate glass cannons.
Okay, that's pretty much it. And I asked people's thoughts instead of just ours, and we've had a bunch of people just say stuff. So we've got Ebon has said that just finished Striker and my first group of spites this morning. I'm glad to see I can set up a pretty decent army without paying a lot. It means I can play sooner. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Like you said, Striker, particularly you said like for Living City, it's still that tactic of yours probably won't change too much. What you go for weird a couple of games against that. And then we've got Andreas saying that hello and saying that City's got it good. Yeah, like you were saying as well, Alex, like compared to a lot of the other armies out here, they seem to have came out. Obviously, like most things have gone up, but whereas most armies where everything bar one or two things has gone up, they've came out pretty well. And then we've got Elmo saying that the Kernoff Hunters are the biggest pain point for Sylvaneth, because I think that was their strongest unit, probably. Like,
yeah, I mean, you say this, but they do now count as 2 models on an objective.
It's all these extra things, isn't it? Where it's trying to remember them from the core rules.
But no, like even they're way overpointed. They should have probably stayed the same. At most, gone up 10. I think they went up about 25.
You saying that Moser Guard are better than Kernoff Hunters?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
They move. Kernoff Guard move what, like 5 inches? Morsar Guard move 14. Like.
Yeah, but there's things in the game that move 4 inches. So compared to a zombie, pretty. Actually, no, they can. Got trick, yeah, exactly. Then we got Gwell saying Kragness is borderline approachable price now. Yep, we'll get to him shortly. And then that's good to hear though. And then we've got Poet saying that the cost for dwarves is good, and surprisingly, the Iron Drakes didn't get crushed on costs. Arguably the most consistent shooting in the game, which I think you said as well, Alex, didn't you? With that,
exactly. I had a game against Gargants where 20 Iron Drakes, a Hurricanum, and Dreicher killed a Gargant in one go. So there's some real damage in it. Yeah, like they can do. And I think they did about 20 of it, like 20 damage.
That's decent. I mean, like I think the last time I played against Iron Drakes, had 6 Necropolis Stalkers. They got shot by them, and then they managed to charge them. Somehow I didn't roll anything well in combat. Then I had to deal with my opponent getting the next turn and then just getting shot to pieces. Like they will tear a lot of things apart. So they are, and it's nice to see like an older unit do that. Where the old dispossessed. And then we've got Andreas saying that they can roar, so they have to take Battle Shock. I think that's the one I can't pronounce, the Charybdis, something like that. And then talking about that, Gwell was saying that the War Hydra and the Charybdis are actually pretty good monsters. Well, I'm delighted to hear that. I've never seen them do well. I would love to. I would love it that every Season Sigmar army was not... You'd never made a list with it unless you included 4 Hydras. And for every Hydra you have, you're allowed a Charybdis. I think that would be great, but I just haven't... I always feel sorry for my opponent when their Hydra doesn't do what you would think it would do before reading this rules. But hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong on that. And then Blue Velvet is saying that when they get to my army, it's going to make me cry more. Presumably that's Nagash. And then Poet is saying Warden King staying the same. Is stunning, surprisingly durable, and hitting with a decent utility. Warden King, what did he give? Did he give
he has a command ability for +1 attack against an enemy unit. So it's not so... that's pretty good. And then he's got Battle Shock Immunity Bubble if he doesn't move, I believe. So he's decent. Yeah. That's
good. And it's good against an enemy unit rather than you pick one of your units, obviously.
So yeah, exactly. So you could still give yourself like +1 to hit or whatever, yeah.
Definitely. And then we got Gwell saying, I feel everything is more pricey in most armies due to the buffs they get from the new universal command abilities. Yep, completely agree. And I think also like I said, they want to bring everything up in points so they can slowly bring it down for our 3rd edition. And then Poet is saying, will you have the spreadsheet available on the Discord? Yes, it certainly can. So this was, Alex sent it to me, to be fair. So this was posted on the AoS Coach Discord. And I imagine it's probably lost amongst many things maybe there, or maybe not. But I can certainly post it on my Discord as well for people. It's really handy, like just some quick references to see what's gone up and not. So thank you very much to the person who did it. And then Blue Velvet is saying, and yep, it's Sinesh, my favourite and only army I have. Well... pick a new one. But no, I'm sure they're not that bad. So that is cool. Right, and then anything else just to say with Cities of Sigmar, Alex, or you think that's...
Don't think so. I think they came off pretty well. I think they've definitely got better with the new edition. So yeah, I'm excited. I kind of got a bit not fed up with my Living City, but I kind of run out of motivation to play it. And this new edition, I'm very, very keen on Living City. I think it'll be really good. Cities is gonna do well.
No, very good to hear. Very good to hear. Just need to see. Sorry, talking about the spreadsheet, I've just got it open, and I'm trying to find going past.
So the tabs at the bottom, it says chaos.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah, I mean, brilliant. Thank God you're here. Otherwise, like my Excel experience is not. Despite when I lie to try and get a job, and I say that I've got much experience in Excel, I really do not. So Slaves of Darkness. So Chaos Chariots down 15 points already. I can pretty much see where the meta is going. Like I've already said, Chaos Chariot nearly killed Sinesh, not Sinesh or anything to do that, but nearly killed Techless, which I think is not about getting lucky with the dice, but probably more than average. So the Chaos Chariot going down 15 points. The Chaos Chariots were too expensive in points in general. But I prefer the Chaos Chariot more than the Gorbis Chariot because its charge mortal wounding is pretty good. Like do you know what it is, Alex?
No.
So basically the big chariot, the Gorbis one, you charge, pick an enemy unit within 1 inch on a 2-up, D3 more wounds, the usual. On this, you roll what is equal to your you roll as many dice which was equal to your charge roll, and for any 5s or 6s is a mortal wound.
Okay, so basically, I know a good charge on a 5-up.
Yeah, so like on average, the low average you'll get if it was like a 7-inch charge, you're done like 3 mortal wounds, I think. So it's not that bad if you can spike it. But anyway, so that's just a Chaos Chariot, and that's just something I love. And the thumbnail I put for this video so far is a Chaos Chariot, so that's why I had to say that. But Chaos Knight's gone up 10 points, probably because everyone's predicted how good the Lances are. Marauders have gone up 10 points. I ran them a little bit. I found them quite boring, but I think probably some people would have wanted them to go more. What are your sort of thoughts on that? Because they're 25 mil bases. They come minimum size units of 10, so it's harder to take 14.
Yeah, well, you can't take 40.
It used to be 20, didn't it?
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, so they've deliberately done that, which I think is cool. I think get out of the Marauder build. It's quite. I mean, your opponent knows what's coming for them. You know what you're going to do, and it's a bit. I don't know. I just feel like it's such a big book. It'd be nice if there were more options to it, rather than if you want to do the best you can, you get Marauders. So what are your thoughts with this? Because I know you have played some Slaves of Darkness, particularly in the Cabalists.
Yeah, I'm all aboard the Slaves of Darkness hype. My hot take is Slaves are going to be one of the best armies in the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they've really done well out of AoS 3. The big take, Archaon's only gone up 30 points.
He's
830 points.
Oh wow, yeah.
Mate, your host of the Everchosen, it's back on. It's back on.
That was brilliant. And he can make himself best case scenario with the heroic actions and the monstrous rampages, isn't it? +1 to hit, +1 to wound. That's the thing, right?
I think, but yeah, healing with Archaon.
He's got a 2-up save if you want him to.
Yep. And then he heals. You can heal him 2d3 per turn. He generates more CP. You could just chuck an Emerald Life Swarm in there, following around. So he's then healing 6 D3 per turn potentially.
Yeah.
Per battle round, I should say. So he's basically unkillable now. Archaon, scary. He's going to be the big bad, I think. In 3.0, I really do. If you don't have a way to do it with Archaon, you're not going to win a tournament.
Because most of the big scary monsters went up 60, 80 points, and they not.
Nagash went up 100.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Teklas up 78. Yeah, exactly. He's big. I think especially is it 5th Circle Everchosen, where the Varangard are rerolling hits and wounds versus heroes and monsters.
Oh yes, I think so.
That could be very good in this edition, if not 6th Circle like you ran it.
And are you thinking, when you say you reckon Slaves of Darkness could be one of the top armies, which is something I'm very excited to hear, are we like as far as I'm aware, like this isn't how I like to play it, but I hear that everyone, takes Nurgle to make the most out of it.
No,
Is that me?
No.
No, oh, it's not.
No, so like because without Plague Touch, Nurgle's kind of
Of
it's
course,
fine, but Plague Touch is why
Yeah.
you took Nurgle. Khorne probably now, you're a big fan. Slaanesh is a place, but basically, like the big thing with 3.0, which I've discovered pretty early on, is if you can get rerolls, then you're onto a winner. Like any way you can get rerolls on your hits, wounds, or saves is going to make a huge difference because you've got loads of ways to get +1 to hit, +1 to save, but you just haven't got. If you don't have access to rerolls, then you're kind of limited. In Slaves, as an example, I had a unit of 5 Chaos Knights on a 3-up save, ignoring Rend 1, rerolling. A pretty buffed up Ghoul King on Terrorgeist went into them, fought twice, did 5 damage.
That's it.
They just stand there like, yeah, cool, you do that. So Chaos Knights with coherency, with reroll saves, all of that, with mortal wound protection are awesome. Marauders are Marauders. They're just going to be a pain if you can get the teleport off because they're going to auto charge. The fact the Demon Prince didn't go up is crazy to me.
Yeah.
The Khorne Demon Prince halving charges was in 2.0 was one of the best abilities in the game. And now you combine that with redeploy. So, like, say your opponent gets 3 inches from your knights who are screening, which is obviously the closest you can get. If you then redeploy your knights and you roll a 4, they move out of charge range if your opponent has no bonuses to charge. And so they're just sat there, like, good. Also, your opponent might very tactically just put them just out of range of your Demon Prince's aura, and then you could redeploy your Demon Prince to tag them. He's a problem.
There's also some of the Chaos Lord, like I know the Chaos Lord and Manticore came down in points, like not the Sorcerer, but the Sorcerer was cheaper than the normal Lord, which didn't really make sense. So
the Sorcerer, they've got good access to cheap monsters, which is really important in this game.
I think the Chaos Lord and Demonic Mount is like 155, which is he can make him I think 9 wounds, pretty chunky. Lord for those points. The Cockatrice even came down, which is cool.
Yeah. And it's weird little things like the Mind Stealer Spheranx. It's a monster. If you had a 20 block of Chaos Warriors, sat your Spheranx just behind it to do the fight last and the roar to stop them from using command abilities, like that's a really well spent 100 points. The War Shrine has got way, way, way better because it's a priest, so it can learn some like Curse for mortal wounds. It's also a totem, so it can give out command abilities at an 18-inch range, and it only went up 15 points. So the War Shrine's amazing. I'm really hot on the Kabbalist sub-faction with new Cogs, because Cogs gives every wizard within 6 inches of it +1 spell that they can cast, so all the wizards become 2 cast. And then when you combine that with the enhancement that every wizard learns another spell from the spell lore, suddenly, in my list, I've got 8 casts with a possible +3 to cast, re-rolling because I've got the blue scribes. Some of the spells are completely disgusting in Slaves. I've got Teleport and Marauders going all over the place. I've got Horde Clearers. I've got Fight Lasts. Even just like Mystic Shield is really good. I've got the Fly spell because flying Marauders sounds really fun to me. Just like flying over those screens into the juicy stuff behind when they make that 12-inch charge that they're almost guaranteed to make.
What's not to love about that? And like, there's also you got a huge amount of access to like good endless spells as well.
Yeah, exactly. So essentially, I'm really, really excited for what Slaves are going to bring. I think that could be really, really good. Archaon's going to be a problem. I think he has to see more points increases in the future, but enjoy it while you can, because whether it's in Everchosen or in Tzeentch, he's going to be a problem. And in general, Slaves got away pretty lightly. Chaos Knights, people are sleeping on them. They're really good.
Yeah, and I also think when we've looked at a lot of the other armies, it's been kind of pretty much saying most things have gone up in points, but like every other army, a lot of things gone up in points. So it's kind of, the same tide bringing everything up. Where Slaves of Darkness, it kind of feels like for just as many things that have gone up in points, you can say, yeah, but this has gone down in points and that hasn't changed. So it almost feels like the Slaves of Darkness point change came out very positively, basically, to what it could have been.
Exactly. It's like, for example, the Chaos Sorcerer Lord's probably the best 5-wound hero in the game, maybe along with the War Charter. He only went up 5 points.
Yeah, like the Chaos Lord on foot has gone up 10 points because there were often two if you wanted auto includes because the Chaos Lord makes something fight twice. And it's like if you still want the fight twice thing, or you still want the Chaos Sorcerer Lord to re-roll those saves or to do the spells, you're going to pay the extra 5 points. You're going to pay the extra 10 points.
It's also worth talking about. Darkfire Demon Rift's gone up to 100 points. Hopefully, it's in a War Scroll change. But I think at 100 points, whatever it's going to be, could be really strong, and that could put Slaves into an even better position.
Yes, in that. And Varangard didn't go up, which is nice.
Varangard in 3, just like you ran them, Archaon plus 2 times 3 at Varangard. Going to be good.
It's like, because I used to take Be'lakor because it was really cheap for what he did, because I haven't played him since the new one. It's like, so that's an extra like 240 points, however many points he used to be. I've got to play around with, so I might even try and take another unit, maybe, who knows. But what I'd say as well is even things like the Iron Golems that are very good for what they did, they haven't gone up much in points. And what you're saying about it's so useful now for armies that have access to rerolls. It's like, again, not the best unit in the army, but Chaos Chosen when I have run them, if they don't get shot off the board immediately and they actually get to do what they want to do. Before, where it was like hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s, wounded on 2s, 6s to hit, doing mortal wounds. Now it's, hitting on 2s, re-rolling 1s, wounding on 2s. Which is just really good characteristics, like the Slaves have. And what's the Nesh? It's the Exploding 6s and the... I think re-rolling run and charge rolls, which because you can't make everything re-roll charges these days, that's going to be quite good. And making things run, increasing their runs on the average as well. Yeah. It's great. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly catch up with this before we move on to everybody's favourite, the Hedonites of Slaanesh. Let us know your thoughts on that. Well, there's been quite a few people in the chat. So we have got... Where do we get to? I think this is Henry. You don't excel at this program. Word, mate, word. Yes, I will use word as much as I can. And then Andreas saying, have you covered Iron Jaws yet? No, we haven't. They are pretty good in new edition due to the Choppers sub-legions, letting the Chanters pick 3 units. That is good, because that's not a command ability or anything, like off the top of my head, so that should work. I own 40 Phoenix Guard, 1 Frost Phoenix, and 3 Flame Phoenixes. Guess I have to wipe the dust off them. Yep, I mean, if you want a time to get your Phoenixes out, that is now. And then we've got Jacq.l, butchered your name, apologies. Saying, is that spreadsheet available to the public? Yes, it is, mate. Someone else did it, like I've already said, but I will put it in my Discord after this, and then everyone can see it and to your leisure. So then we have Andreas saying they seem pretty good. So there's darkness, presumably. Henry saying not yet, we just covered all. Okay, yeah, so we've done that. Okay. Yeah, Archaon is amazing. We've got could Kragnus kill Archaon? He's going to have a tough time. Just your quick take on that. Could Kragnus kill Archaon in one go?
Yeah, if he rolls hot on those mortal wounds on the charge, absolutely. But the problem is that Archaon moves 14, Kragnos moves 10. So normally Archaon and a Zinj Archaon, I mean it's a different story, but yeah.
And Archaon flies.
Yeah, so Archaon's got the better, but if you outplay your opponent, Kragnos probably one-shots Archaon.
Yeah, exactly. And as long as Archaon isn't screened, I'll be fine. And then so I'm reading through a couple of these just before I put them on the screen, just to see if they are relevant or not. And then Andreas saying Marauders to get nerfed because they are still intense. They are. Here comes the pain train, presumably about Hedonites Slaanesh. Prob's thinking about food, is saying, oof, the 30-point increase for Bloodstalker. So going back to that, I already like the sister variant more, and this just pushes me in that direction way more. Yeah, we said if they wanted you to play different things on Daughters of Kane, they shouldn't have upped the points and everything. Ben is saying Demonettes went up the same as Archaon. Yeah, but Demonettes are going to be just as useful as Archaon in addition, I'm pretty sure. And then Wesley is saying that Gaunt Summoner on disc is cheaper than the normal Summoner. But the normal Summoner has the... Which one's good? The normal Summoner on foot or the one on the disc?
I don't know. I've heard people talking about it, but...
I think the one on the disc has the book to bring on Pink Horrors. I think that's how it works. And then we've got Max is saying, is that Alex Tubbs? And he's saying, my boy. So I don't know if you know Max. And we get another game. Siggy. Is that someone you played against lately? Just a quick one.
I'm trying to think. Max.
It's not the Luna player you're talking about, were you?
No, I don't know. I'll figure it out soon.
Yeah. And then, so Arnold has been an absolute champion. Has given €2 to the channel. Thank you so much, Arnold. That generally is really generous of you. Certainly, we'll be using that to buy. I think now paint towards the Dominion box sets I couldn't really afford to buy. But Arnold and Poet always do give money towards the channel when we do these live videos. So thank you so much to you two. That's really, really kind of you. And then Andreas saying, oh God, Sinesh. And then just quickly before we go into it, Ben saying Enchantress is actually not a terrible pick right now. Okay, right. And then with that, let's go into this. So would you say Hedonite Sinesh probably benefited the most from the point changes, Alex?
Yeah, man. Like, they've done well. Let's move on.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, now we're going to go on to Marketing of Nurgle. So, Plague Bearer. No, okay, so we will talk about this. It's just like so much red, so much pain, which Sinesh would enjoy, presumably. The unnecessary excess amount of points increases. I presume it was thematic. So, Blissbarb Archers got up 20 points. Should they have gone up more?
They're 30 points more than Sentinels. They're 10 points more than Bloodstalkers. They're 20 points. They're 20 points more than Iron Drakes. Like,
if you take a certain allegiance, they get to reroll hit rolls of 1.
No. Like, I just want to say, like, GW, what the fuck? Like, I feel so bad for Sinesh players right now. Like, they were in a bad place to begin with. Like, that book was a hot mess when it dropped, and it was just about playable thanks to the 6-inch Pilot Battalion and like summoning and stuff. And now I'm just looking at it, and it's just like, you have one way to play, and that is to try and get as much summoning as possible to bring on blocks of Demonettes. And it's just like,
that's not even a good play either, though, is it? It's like,
no, it's all like, people have put so much money into their Slanesh armies, and the new models dropped, and they're invested in.
They look incredible
in Slangors, and it's just like the army's like, it's almost unplayable at this point. It's just like, why? It wasn't needed. It's all like, yeah. I'm sorry to Slanesh players. Like, yeah.
I mean, what I'd say is I'm a Slaves of Darkness Slanesh player, which I believe puts me on a different sort of class level. But what I will say is, as someone who was maybe tempted to dip my toe into Sinesh, and someone who actually owns Schlaxi Hellbane that now can't actually fit in my Slaves of Darkness army for allies, and I already thought it was too many points. There just doesn't seem to be any reason for this. And if you missed it when I said it earlier, when I did my review for the Sinesh Hedonites book, point 2, I said one of the greatest strengths about this battle tome is every General's Handbook going forward, you can expect to see points decreases. Which I was wrong, and I still don't take back those words, because I Blissbarb Archers for 160. I don't know what they do. Like, the only one thing I remember about synergy in this army, this guy with a mirror on a stick, if he gets within 8 inches on the enemy on a dice roll, can give you a +1 to win. But we've got Ben in the chat, who's a very passionate Sinesh player. So if he thinks differently, he can let us know. But he did say I love how this comes out. It's like the Enraptress, actually it's not a terrible pick now. And it's like, I love how you got to judge an army by the unit choices are the terrible ones and the ones that are just bad and not terrible. Anything came out all right. So, okay, so the Infernal Enraptress is 10 points cheaper.
Okay, she's all right. Yeah, she was good before. She was decent beforehand. So 10 points less is good.
The Hellstriders, They're a bit cheaper, but they are the older models.
Yeah.
Is that Seekers? They've come down 10 points, but then again, the older models. Anything that you want to say?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Sorry to Slaanesh players, yeah.
Look, guys, it's not that long until Christmas. You know, just keep your chin up and then expect more points increases.
I mean, the best bit is that the Keeper of Secrets is only 10 points less than Kairos. Like, come on.
Yeah, but the Keeper of Secrets, like, if your opponent forgets to roll save rolls and forgets to check your dice when you roll to hit into wound, like, you're on a win. Yeah, I mean, Blissbarb Seekers, 220 points. I mean,
just unplayable.
Mozarguard are 195 now.
Yeah.
That's with an increase. Okay, quick question. Everyone says Sylvaneth, competitively speaking, terrible army, you know, on a competitive scale. That's the internet's voice. Slaanesh and Sylvaneth, who's top, who's bottom between those two? I know, obviously, situation dependent, battle plan, everything else, player, but what would you say? Who's fighting for bottom? We can chuck Beast of Chaos in there too, if you like.
Yeah, like it's close. It's really close. I'm gonna say Slaanesh. I mean, the summoning is the only thing which might save them.
Yeah, and even then, it's not like if any of you ever played Call of Duty, and it's like if you manage to kill 24 people in a row or whatever, you get a nuke. That just means you win the game. It's not even like once you summon something, you've won. But let's move on, because I think just our silence has described our thoughts on this. So I'm going to quickly look at the chat though before we move on. So your Power Max is saying Siggy, so Sigvold presumably. Sounds like that's a shout out for him. Ben is saying that Lurid Haze plus Siggy is pretty nice, because obviously when he comes up from the board edge, I believe, and then he can make an easy charge.
Yeah.
So there's that, which is cool. I'm saying, did you do Sons of Behemoth? No, we're doing Destruction right at the end, mate. So still in time for that. Don't worry. Blue Velvet is saying, welcome to my thoughts. I don't like GW at the moment. And then and he nearly spelled Blue Velvet saying it nearly spend 2k, and presume that's not in points, that's actual money, on Slaanesh. You have a lovely collection of GW models. Going on to the next one. It's terrible, obviously. But Games Workshop, they are not a they are a model company. They are not a game company, despite it being in their name. So don't blame them if their rules are bad, is what their answer is. And then Nathan is saying Slangor Meta 2021. Can we just get the points on the Slangor before we move on? Because I think 10. That is... How much?
They've gone up 10 points. I think they're 150 now.
150. What? But one of them has damage that's more than one.
And they've got 2 inch reach, I think.
And to be fair, because two of them only have like 1 damage weapons. So, right, okay, so with that, let's just say that's true. And then with the Daughters of the Kane heart going down in points means that 2 damage is less important now, which means Slangor can take on Marathi and her entire army on their own. So
absolutely.
That's where we got it from there. If someone ever manages to beat Daughters of Kane with an army of Slangor, please let me know. And then we get Andrea saying the keepers, man, the keepers, yeah, I know. And then Ben is doing his best to try and salvage this, saying that Mirror +1 wound to +1 to wound is only a melee. Okay, so it's actually worse than I thought. And then Henry saying, quite the joke. What's the actual points, though? Yep, guys. Right, me and Alex have been straight into this. You finally found us out. So this is something we created 5 minutes before the show started. No, so yeah, this is terrible. And then again, someone might have done a fantastic job of making their own looking General's Handbook, taking dodgy pictures of this fake General's Handbook, and they're not the real points. But yeah, I wouldn't hope. So Blue Velvet, who's unfortunately spent all their money, saying that, and I feel like I wasted the 180 on the twin. Sorry, not 108 on the twin 2 weeks ago.
They're beautiful models.
Yeah, I mean, I know that's like a really shitty thing to reply to you and say that, and I know I said it earlier, but the Slaanesh models are still like one of my
stunning. They are the best models that GW ever released. But yeah,
you take the old models out of the way, that's still in that faction. All the new ones are incredible. I mean, it took me fucking 8 hours to paint like one archer from the warband though, so I wouldn't want to do it as an army, but truly incredible. Like those slick based seekers, I think they're called. One of the best cavalry units to come out for Warhammer since forever, I think. And then just to say, Ben is saying Beasts of Chaos didn't come out bad compared to Slaanesh. Cool, and we'll find that out in a moment. So going on to Mount King of Nurgle, quite a bit of green. Have Blight Kings gone down? So imagine that was
up 25. The age of Blight King spam is over, I think.
So what else could you? I'm trying to think. Plague Bearers are probably on 32
Plague
million.
Plague Bearers are actually pretty good. You know, running whatever the sub-allegiance where 6 is to hit, kick a mortal wound back. Munificent Wanderers, that's it. Like that with some like great unclean ones at 350, pretty good still for a monster. They've already got a lot of healing, so monster hero at that's pretty good. I mean, yeah, losing some of the battalions hurt Nurgle. Things like Blight Cyst, just put nail in the coffin for Blight Kings. I'm not super knowledgeable on Nurgle because I've tended to only go against Blight Kings, which has been a hateful experience.
Well, the hateful experience is now at an end. And I imagine like the coherency and how many you can.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll be seeing huge blobs of Blight Kings anymore.
Exactly. You'll be seeing like minimum size units of 5s like sitting on objectives. And they'll still be good at plus 25, but I think Nurgle, they're looking, not as good as they were going into 3.0.
No, and as someone who's not a Nurgle player, I mean, all I can say is that it's nice. It'll be nice to fight something different than just Blight Kings all the time. Mm-hmm. I think, and then just quickly into Elix Man saying that Slaanesh is better because at least they have Locusts of Diversion and the Shard Speaker with its amazing debuff spell. Sylvaneth have Colonel Hunters, I guess. Which is
don't sleep. There are plays with Sylvaneth. There's one guy called Math Mallow who is probably the best Sylvaneth player there is. You play against him and your brain just falls out. Like, it's incredible. Like, so there's play, but
I mean, I slagged off Yetis and then got like bummed by 21 of them. So and that's MSU, and it did really well. Did you played against it as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I played it in the final.
Surprisingly good.
Yeah.
It's movement. Cool. Yes, that's Nurgle. I mean, like, again, I don't play much against them. That's not Blight Kings, like I said. I don't think this maybe is enough to take these guys, but like Poscoil Blight Lords, I think, as someone who doesn't really like Nurgle models, I think they look pretty cool, and they came down 5 points. That's going to be the last thing I say about Nurgle. So then we have Disciples of Zeech. That's a hell of a lot of red. Apart from Pink Horrors that have gone down for some reason.
Yeah, there is like people are wondering if the Pink Horror War Scroll is going to change. Hence why they only went down 5 points. Because at the moment, the rally command ability with Pink Horrors is completely bent and stupid. So whether it might change that a pink just splits into 1 blue rather than 2 blues, things like that, we don't know. But otherwise them going down 5 points is a little bit weird. Flamers going up 35 is pretty rough for Flamers. I think basically you're going to be seeing a lot more spellcast heavy Zeech lists, probably with cogs again for +1 cast for each wizard, protected by Pink Horrors. I mean, they got big points increases. They got the most out of any army. As I said, Flamers got hit hard. The Mortals all got hit hard. I mean, I don't know why Kyric Acolytes have gone up to 125 points. That's strange to me. Some of the little heroes have had big points increases. I mean, Kairos only going up 35 points. He probably should have gone up more. But they got hit pretty hard. I think Zeech are going to be really good though, just because of changes to endless spells and cogs and rally and other bits and bobs. But I think I'll wait and see on that one because they seem to have had pretty big points increases throughout.
Yeah, I mean, like I know this is a very obscure one and not what people are probably talking about, unless there's some sort of secret tech there that I don't know. But the Warhammer Underworld's, warband, the Eyes of the Nine, I believe it's called. Like that went up by 75 points. Like, and was anyone taking that already? Like, it just seems weird. And then like Kairos only went up 35.
Yeah. It does feel a little bit like GW have just thrown darts at a dartboard to see where points go.
Yes. And like obviously that's taken as a joke and that's not saying what they are doing, but at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me. Like that's all. Yeah. And they literally do this like 5 minutes before this goes to print. So they throw the darts and then have about 2 minutes to type it. And then we have Skaven, which there's this meme with the new coherency rules and the actually no, hang on, let me just get what I need to go to. Yeah, so gutter runners only being in units of 5 means that the Eshin like net list that auto wins games practically.
Let me sell you on something. Thanquol with Unleash Hell.
Okay, where is he?
I mean, he's gone up 15 points, so he's done fine. But Thanquol with 4 warp fire projectors or whatever, doing Unleash Hell. Can you imagine?
Oh yes, sorry, I thought you just meant the term, like they unleash hell. I was like, yeah, they do, but no, you mean the command ability.
The command ability, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a good shout. Yeah, like he's great. Like as someone who I think I came across like 40 skinks. There was some sort of horde unit, and he just blitzed them. So being able to do Unleash Hell as well, yeah.
Also, you've now got like obviously the Broken Realms changes for Skaven, where like the Warp Fire guys can hide in a unit of clan rats, and now they can Overwatch.
Is that so? I'd never actually read that update in that terms. Was it a battalion that allowed to do it, or was it
it's just an ability. I think I can't remember exactly how it's worded, but it's
when you deploy this unit, you can put it into a unit of blah 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 models.
Exactly, and it can pop out like Fanatics or something. But yeah, like them getting to do Overwatch.
That's great. And my beautiful helper has gone up 20 points, but it did wipe out like fucking 21 Phoenix Guards.
Helpits were low, like
they were good.
Helpits have got better because you can now give them like
normal
movement. But yeah, like they hit like a truck. Like the first time I faced one, it killed like 5 Chaos Knights in one go, and I was like, "Excuse me."
Yeah, mental. Like when I think, did you see it when I took it against Luke ages ago? Like,
I think so, yeah.
I took one game of Clan Mulder and it won. I was like, let's just keep that ratio going and never play it again. Yeah. And I thought, like, bring 3 Helpits and one of them will do something. One of them killed 21 Phoenix Guard, and then when it died, it just came back to life.
Yeah. Great. We're back in the age of being able to get Storm Fiends up to a unit of 9.
There's no max now.
And then the big troll is Rally. You've lost 8 of them. You've got 1 left. You roll some dice. You roll hot. You roll 4 6s. Suddenly you've got 5 Storm Fiends back.
Yeah, it's just like a worse version of like full reality for everyone, isn't it? Which is cool.
Yeah. But no, I think in terms of points, it looks like they got hit fairly hard. I don't know Skaven super well. I don't play against them very often. But it looks like they got fairly average points changes. I think Skaven players are more aggrieved by like changes to coherency and unit size. Things like Plague Monks didn't change, so they're still at maximum size 10. And probably they should have gone up to 20. Same with Acolytes, or only 5. So like you can only hit them 10, 15 if you're Clan Scryer.
We would have liked Night Runners and Gutter Runners going up to Gutter Runners being 10. And
so I think points are probably fair. I mean, Storm Fiends did go up by 55, but they've also got a lot better with again, Overwatch and the ability to get +1 to hit and rally and all of that stuff.
I think, like, obviously, I don't know everything when it comes to pointing stuff. I think it's quite hard to, as someone who's played Skaven, I probably had about 10, 15 games or something of Skaven on TTS, and I feel like it's probably quite hard to point them because like in half the games that the Clan Scry stuff did nothing, and then the other half they just went mad. So like it's quite hard to say like this thing, basically doubles its damage. But on the roll of a 1, it's dead.
Yeah.
Like maybe like to point it, but I think Skaven players are probably quite clever and intuitive, and will probably find a way. And also just to say with the how big you can make a unit in Age of Sigmar now. I think maybe they will have some changes when they get a battle tome saying that they can ignore the rule maybe, or tweak it like they did with they got +2 to their bravery instead of +1 in 2nd edition battleship phases.
Yeah, exactly. We're still only seeing part of what's going on here until we see those FAQs.
Definitely. Cool. So that is Skaven. And then Blazer Corn, that could probably have used some help. Don't tell me Skull Crushers have gone up.
10 points. I mean, again, I don't know loads on Khorne. The big takeaway though is the Bloodthirsters did pretty well. Scarbrand stayed the same. Incessant Rage went up 10. Unfettered Fury 25, and the Wrath of Khorne one went up 10. So they've done pretty well. The Bloodthirsters.
The only thing to go down are the Mighty
Blood Warriors. Yeah, Blood Warriors are now minimum 10. They used to be minimum 5. Don't know if that matters. But yeah,
Blood
general, they got small points increases. They got quite big nerfs in things like, for example, the priests miscasting.
And only doing one prayer.
They were very reliant on their battalions. I don't know with that one, because obviously War Scrolls override core rules, and if their War Scrolls set or their battle tome says they can do multiple, they might still be able to. I don't know. But yeah, in general, Khorne were in a bad place before, especially now being unable to take Slaves of Darkness units as battle line. They're still in a bad place now.
Is that definitely a thing that they can't take?
Yeah, it's like it's like a coalition thing. So again, it's like in cities, you couldn't take, like Stormcast couldn't be battle line.
Was that in the core rules? Is that
no, it's in the GHB, so it's only for that match play that it counts, I think.
Got ya.
I think I could be wrong.
But anything that's not about match play, you could play the game however you bloody want at the end of the day. So like it doesn't matter. No, that's cool. Like again, I honestly think like making reasons for them, but they've made some things that shouldn't have gone up in points, they've done it anyway. So then when things can drop later, it looks even better, maybe. But hopefully we'll have to wait and see on that one. Just going back to the chat, just so I don't get behind. Andreas saying Sylvaneth trees are real good now. The tree lords, because like something we were saying about earlier potentially. And then Sam was saying, did Brimstones get the biggest relative hike in the game?
Oh yeah, they went up massively. They got like more than doubled in points, which is a bit weird.
That's crazy. It wasn't like it's, as far as I'm aware, it's not the Brimstones that are the thing that's good about horrors. It's the whole thing going to blues, going to brims. So
exactly, you took Brimstone, you took brims as like a cheap screen. So yeah, a bit of a weird one. Another, their throw with the dart was a bit off for that one.
Yeah, must have been. There was a slight wind. And then Weasley, that's how I'm going to pronounce that. Hopefully that's right. Double check this summoner. Really can't see the difference between the two. The one on disc has better stats and same spells. I think he has the book of Profane Secrets. Probably not the name of it. That can make him bring a horrors, I think. And then Andres saying it could have gone worse for Siege. Yep, it could have done. And it could have gone worse for Sinesh as well, couldn't it? I think we can all agree. And then we've got Andreas. I won't let you answer that one. We've got Andreas saying Helper got a lot better in the Kragness book. Oh, that's pretty cool. I was always a fan of the Helper. It was such a cheap monster for what it did. And then Corbin is saying that Warpseer is still almost invincible, and its command ability covers 80% of the board. I know, like, you went against my Warpseer, and it's just and I was fitting 2 blocks of 40 Clan Rats in there, a block of 40 Storm Vermin without really any difficulty.
Yeah, no, they're really good, really good.
And then Andreas talking about Khorne, saying Khorne didn't change a whole lot in the points department, no, but things did go up, and like you say, they don't have the Slaves of Darkness units anymore, and they don't have those battalions, which they did kind of like. And then Ben is saying that Beasts of Chaos each have got cheaper. Most Warherd have gone up is most likely due to the D3 damage on the charge. Show-offs seem solid choices for survivable hero monsters. Cockatrice is great because I think the Shag-offs they benefit from Look Out Sir now. I think because obviously that change. And then he's also saying Vestigor and Gore going up wasn't great, but Wildfire Taurus has got really good, as has the Zangor Shaman. That is good to hear because I thought the Taurus would have gone up in points. And Francisco is saying, so is the dragon the same points? Corn dragon.
So because that's Forge World, it will be in a separate set of points, like the Monsters Arcanum points, which haven't been released yet. Are you flexing with the dragon?
I have never played with this guy, and he's not even legal in 2,000 points now.
And that was going to be my point. Is like if he's like, I can't see him being under 1,000 points, in which case he isn't match play legal because no one model can be more than half your army, or one unit can be more than half your army. So yeah, don't go buying a Corn Dragon,
even if Games Workshop doesn't, Mr. Dragon. So Fluffy won't be taken to any games now. I mean, arguably, GW probably did me a favour by not allowing it a match play because it probably wasn't really worth its points up being 1,100. But narratively, you could play a game of Warcry on it. So there's where am I putting this? Okay, so yeah, sad time. Fucking 400 quid that thing. And I bought the Blades of Khorne Battle Tome, and obviously it's not in there. Right, go. Coulter's saying, why has Shalaxi, a model not often gone up 100 points? Simply because I think it was something. Did you get the memo on that one, Alex? Or
GW don't know their own game.
GW don't know their own. Well, let me get another model out. I'm not going to be playing with and took too long to paint. Here's This has gone off topic. Here's Shalaxi Helve now. Yeah, I mean, this thing had over 220 gems on it, which I painted in 4 different colors. A waste of time. Right. Sorry. So let's go on with the next. Just like, so, literally, half of lockdown spent painting those things for no reason. Should have learned a bloody language. Would have been able to speak Polish by now. Cool. Now, everybody's least favorite army, because they keep getting stomped into the ground by them, Beasts of Chaos. So are they still top meta, Alex? Like, what are our thoughts?
I've never played against Beasts of Chaos. Hundreds of games in, and I've never played. I know nothing about Beasts of Chaos.
So I think the right term is I've been lucky enough to find them at a few tournaments, because lucky being the term when they didn't have a battle tome, it's like, what's the synergy? And then your opponent just laughs at you. So what I will say, though, is we have got Ben in the chat who's given us some advice on the Beast of Chaos already. We've already read out. And he is, I'm going to say the Beast, but the best Beast of Chaos player in Yorkshire, because that's where he's from. And I think that's an area I can confine it with him, because he's beaten Seraphin with it, and he's played it as well as it can.
It plays the objective game very well because it's a whole load of points. Just the models don't actually do anything, as far as I'm aware. Although, if the Darkfire Taurus War Scroll doesn't really change, which points suggest it hasn't, that thing's going to be scary. Take a Shaman as a ally in Tzeentch, and things get nuts.
I get you, but my one question with the Beast of Chaos stuff is, why did any of it go up? Why did any of it go up?
I've got one word: Slaanesh.
You could potentially have taken it in a battalion, which no longer is a thing now, so no, that can't go in Slaanesh, can it? I was going to say, if you could, that's probably how you make Slaanesh broken, presumably. Put in the 2 best armies together to form one. I don't really have anything to say about this. So Ben's already given us our best things about them, so you can see that in the chat. And if anyone missed out on the chat and watched us demand, Ben is in the Discord, Asian Nagash. Click the link down below, take you there, and he will be happy to try and convert as many people to Beast Chaos as possible. just so Games Workshop doesn't kill the model line. But we've been saying that we lost the Zeech tax, so some hard hitters went down. Yeah. And then just some quick little bits of wisdom. So Enlightened with their 2-inch reach slap really damn hard. They do. They do.
Sure. I've heard good things there.
Compared to the other things in the army.
Yeah.
I mean, why did Bookors only have a 1-inch range and their grey axes? But yeah. All right, so on to the better one, which is all about death. So Crypt Ghouls gone down 5 points. Pretty good and Fleshy Courts.
Still terrible. Poor ghouls. No, they
are
are
you
bad.
taking the first edition? They can chuck a lot of attacks out. Like if you go Morngorn or whatever it's called, that Grand Court, you could make like each ghoul do like bloody 6 attacks. I'm not saying it's going to make you win the game, but like it's something you can do.
I think in an era of 2-up saves,
But quickly, desperately grasping straws here. What's the next thing? The Crypt Haunter Courtier, famous for not having rend, also went down 5 points. And then the Crypt Horus, famous for not having rend, also went down 5 points. And then
I mean, I think like with Feck, like
what's the Terrorgeist at basically?
Yeah, like the Terrorgeist got fairly untouched.
25.
Like, up 25. The zombie dragon's looking nice.
Mm-hmm.
But Feck have been hit so hard elsewhere. You know, they were
the
really
Richard
reliant. Yeah, they're really reliant on their battalions. The fact they can only feast day once per combat phase. So only one unit can feast day, which is fight twice. The coherency really messes up horrors and flayers. Like a really good friend of mine, he's been like absolutely sort of he's put in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Feck games over lockdown on TTS. Done really well at tournaments with them. Like, one of the best Feck players I know, if not the best. And he's just, they're dead. I put hours and hours and hours in, and in 3.0 as it stands, I can do nothing with them. Big sad. But in terms of points, like they got fairly light touch, which was, all they ever should have got.
But they have awesome lore. Right. You know, if you're in doubt about anything in the game, just say, but such a cool model line though, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, to be fair, you buy 1 star collecting box and you're pretty much sorted. Okay, so that is Flesh Eater Courts. My series on them is still relevant. That's all I'm going to say. Right, going on to the Ossiarch Bone Reapers, which I think there's some winners and some losers here. Because they compared to a lot of other stuff, they came out all right.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, their average points change was 0.4%. So, stuff went up, stuff went down. Catacross going down 30 is really good.
Yeah,
I think that's a big takeaway.
I know I'm focusing on the wrong things here, but like Immortus Guard going up 10 points. I don't know, but they've touched my Death Riders, which was how I ran it, and they've also I'm not arguing with the points of Ossiarch Bone Reapers because some of the stuff can be very good, but it's harder to have more numbers now with more tech, obviously going up a little bit in points, but. The Harbingers, the Morgasts, which not many people took, but they've gone down a solid 5 points. But there was one that I did see earlier. I think it's the Elite Cavios.
Mm-hmm.
That's gone down 15. Like they're pretty good.
Yeah. No, I think with OBR it all depends on those day one FAQs because as it stands, they can't use their it all used to work with OBR was that you'd spam your command abilities. So the +1 attack one from the Cavalos you would give to all of your crawlers if you had 3 crawlers. Whereas now you can't do that because core rules say you can only do 1 command ability per phase of a command ability per phase. So we need to see if that gets FAQ'd for OBR.
And the other thing as well is
access to the new CAs.
Yeah, because a bunch of the battalions give you the new CAs, but if they can't use them anyway, then.
Yeah. So we'll see. They need the FAQ. I think the points put them in a solid position. If the FAQ sorts them out, then they're about as good as they ever were.
And you've got what do we have? The Ender spells that are always for me. The soul linked ones for Ossiarch Bone Reapers were always, I thought, generally pretty like some of the cheapest Ender spells for a faction. And they've all gone up now, which we've seen a lot of Ender spells go up, so it's not like they were picked on. But whereas like the Carrion Bird was like, oh, it was cheap just to be there as like to block enemy movement. Not that it would do that now anyway, with the changes to how you can move over Ender spells. But now I'm like, I don't know why I would pay 85 points. So the Predators
Maybe
now
they might have had War Scroll changes. We don't know.
Okay, yeah, but it's best to presume the worst, and then we can be mean. We'll talk about it. Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to say, just to catch up with the chat, I know Andreas is the last person to put something, but I just want to get to it now. So Stalkers seem decent in third edition, maybe. So I would happily say I've got quite a lot of experience running Stalkers. I've probably done it in about 20 games or something. And I really quite like Stalkers, but I was taking them in units of 6, which is something I wouldn't be doing now going forward because they're only 1-inch range weapons. But units of 3, maybe I'd never played it, but I had the idea of running multiple units, so like MSU with units of 3, because if you can spam the ability to make you move the extra 3, everything else for Ossiarch Bone Reapers, and you go Static Lord, so you run in charge, all that sort of thing. You could be quite out on the flank, so you could be quite a fair distance away from the enemy, but be able to close the gap really quickly. And with having multiple units of them, they can do quite a lot of pain, Stalkers. And obviously, if you have, let's say 4 units of 3, the enemy is going to have to choose which one they want to try and take down first. So it was something I wanted to play out, and I think units of 3 of them, my thoughts on that going into third edition hasn't changed. I think it could still be. I'm not going to say the best way to play this army, but could still be good. So yes, with that, I'll just catch up with the other stuff as well before we miss it. So Colt is saying, I love that Scar Brown is cheaper than Shalaxi, who is now the only named greater demon that is cheaper than the baseline version. I don't know why, like Shalaxi. I mean, she's got 3 attacks, and one of them is D6 damage. But anyway, and then we got Gwell saying, please GW, Bone Reapers really need an FAQ. They should get one. And then Colt saying, the thing is, OBR has lost its unique thing, which was given orders. The question is, will they be compensated since their thing is now game wide? Basically, yeah, it did seem like a test ball to see if it would work third edition. But what I will say with that is, let's wait until we see an FAQ because we could speculate on that for hours. So let's wait until they get an FAQ before we go on to it. So Nighthorn. So some things I liked here is that we saw quite a lot of the, the 5-man min units and stuff go up to 10. I think the Dreadside Harridans were 5.
Yeah, and Blade Ghost Revenants.
Yes. So obviously if they were still 5, I mean, that's just a big pain, isn't it? Because it's really going to be hard to try and take those units in any reasonable numbers. The only thing I would like to have seen as well is the Chainmast Horde going to min size 20. Because I used to run like 90 in a list when I did Nighthaunt, and so like have a moving castle basically. But I was seeing some point increases for them as well. The Spirit Torment's gone down by 5. That's something you're always going to have in your list. The Grimgast Reapers have gone down by 5. I always feel like the Grimgast Reapers were 160 points just because how people use them Allegiance and Nagash, and not really that's how many points they should have been for Nighthaunt anyway. So I'm not really seeing any strong takeaways for Nighthaunt here, bar the changes to unit sizes on that one. Are you still there, Alex? I see your camera's
I am. Yes. Oh, is it gone?
Yeah. If you could, that's all right. But yeah, so Nighthaunt, I don't think they've came out particularly well from this. I mean, it could have been worse, but I think they were struggling anyway. So, and their Ender spells have gone up, and honestly, I don't know why, but like we said, there could be War Scroll changes there as well. So again, being open-minded about this, but it's like the same when we looked at Beast of Chaos. I don't know why they went up either. So, unless you've got any extra thoughts on that, Alex?
No, again, Nighthawk's not something I know loads about. But yeah, seems like they've done okay. But...
yeah, like I don't know why things have gone up in points necessarily. Like Hex Race going to 150 for 5 or something. But a lot of things that we've read through so far have gone up in points. I don't know why. So we'll have to wait and see if that. Soulblight Gravelords only Nagash change, and he went down 5 points. So that's cool.
Yeah, well, they were 3.0 books, yeah, as expected. Yeah. And yeah, Soulblight Gravelords looking really, really good for 3.0.
Yes, I think I really like Soulblight Gravelords. I think they can be competitive. Compare them to top 5 armies, you might struggle, but everything else, I think they can get fed up
with Blood Knights retreating and charging now. Yeah. Like they're right up there.
Getting fed up with people just saying this shit. So
they're definitely not.
Exactly. And I think here we go. So for what it matters, Radikar the Wolf can be taken separately now as well. For 150 points, from what I remember, his command ability is quite good. If he's considerably cheaper than the normal Radikar, I can't remember. So the beast is 315 points. So it's just under half the points for a access to the same command ability. Which I can't remember what it is, but it sounds like units that charge can reroll wounds or something.
It's if he charges, he gives +1 attack in an aura.
It could be an option for people who bought Curse City, basically.
Yeah. You could definitely, if you don't have the point, if you want +1 attack and you don't have the points for the beast, then the wolves are an option.
Yeah, exactly. Nice they did that. I mean, shame they didn't make it separate for the other guys, but because it's a pain when they just go, yeah, we're going to lob everything just into one. That's it's a shame. And then just quickly looking at the chat, we've got OBR is basically a hillbillies fight on who's right on the rules until we get legitimate clarification. So I'm staying out of it until then. Yeah, I completely agreed, Gwell. And then Protestant Food is in. I think the Stalkers are still very good, especially paired with Marathi. They are just hella expensive right now. Okay, yeah, I was going to say, if it was Necropolis Stalkers, I took 6 against Marathi. They did bugger all. But I believe this is Bloodstalkers. So that makes sense. And then Elic is saying, so is Nighthaunt still bad, or do the core rules change help them more than point changes?
I think that the whole issue with Nighthaunt is their main allegiance ability is a slot machine. If you can roll 10s, they're amazing fighting in the charge phase. Change to Mystic Shield really hurt them because Mystic Shield because they're ethereal, they can't get +1 save, so that hurts them.
Yes.
So no, I think although they got help
getting smaller for the underworlds coming out of the ground.
What else? Losing battalions hurts them, so I think they're probably in a worse position than they were, believe it or not.
I believe they did an article today that said how to dominate 3rd edition with ghosts. So
cool, but yeah, they're not. Yeah, they need a new book, and I think they'll get one. They'll be the next death book for sure. I'd expect one this year. The fact that we've got really big rules in Broken Realms for them, like new sub-allegiances, would suggest to me that they're going to put those into a battle tome pretty soon.
Yeah, and I think because now that we're gone into 3rd edition, it's basically bang on 3 years since their first battle tome. So we can expect one. They haven't announced anything, but wouldn't be surprised if they got one before Christmas. So got that, and then so it's Nighthaunt bad, so we covered that. I really like Soul Blight. Correct, Andrus? You have got the best opinion of that. Both Blood Knights and Strykos seem pretty good. Strykos, which one is that again?
Vicross, the Wolf sub-allegiance.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that one seemed all right. I really like, the Blood Knight one. Seems awesome. I actually, Black Knights are looking a little better in 3rd edition. Are they? I'm very open-minded when people say things, but Black Knights, No,
maybe as
I
a
fucking hate
screen,
'em.
like the fact with coherency, they can be a big roadblock, maybe.
Yeah, but it's an expensive one. Take direwolves, and I know you can go. Well, then you're going to have to overlap them. Yeah, you have a chunkier wall, then, don't you? Like, there's.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say for Black Knights apart from I've already done a rant on them. I already have 10 built and painted. I used 10 of them when they were in their best rules they ever had for Age Sigma. They charged a unit of 9 Moser Guard. Yeah, they charged them. They could have done loads of damage, stacked the buffed everything, 4 attacks each. They did 2 damage. Like, and this is Moser Guard, which aren't even the defensive ones. Anyway, that's not saying much. I forgot to mention. And then Guel's just saying that though that's not saying much. I've got to mention. But yeah, yeah. Anyway, going on to destruction. So we have got Sons of Behemoth. So I know Arnold was interested in this. So if you're still listening around, we're about to talk about it. So we've got Man Crusher Gargants. What are your typical unit size? Not your small Gargants are 170 points, which means they came down 10 points. Which is cool, because from what I knew from Suns players was that that the Mega Gargants are used for objective play, and then your damage dealers are your Man Crushers. That's what I was told from like.
Gatebreakers are pretty scary.
Not when you do Titans of Gur, and you go to a bloody tournament, and your Gatebreaker disappoints you in every game by not achieving anything. Yeah, it was a good tournament, but the Gatebreaker massively, I thought it would do too many things. But yes, okay, yeah, so that came in 10 points. Man Crusher Gargant Mob. Oh, so is that like a separate thing made just so you can include your free, so you're not breaking the rule? That means you can't.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm guessing that's what it is, pretty much. Also, I think they're 20 points cheaper. It's like that. It's a horde discount slightly.
Yeah, that's cool then. I like that.
Yeah.
That I think just when your book has like 4 options, it's nice, like as much flexibility as possible. The Gatebreaker, went up 35 points, so 525. But the Kraken Eater came down 10 points. No, the Kraken Eater stayed the same. The War Stomper came down 10 points. So
there was a big change here. The big boys are now battle line.
Yes. Okay. So
you can now just take 4 big boys. Yeah.
It's basically Imperial Knights, isn't it? From what I understand. Yeah.
But fun, kicking objectives.
I can really see that being like a someone's dream army. Yeah. You paint 4 models, spend as much time with them as you would a whole army, and like you're gonna have a great time. So yeah, I like that. That's cool. Just quickly catch up on the chat before we go. So the big guys don't need to babysit the little guys if they don't want to. Interesting, exactly that. They don't have to, like you say, take the little guys anymore. And particularly how like the big ones, they're the new shiny models as well, aren't they? You don't want to feel like you unnecessarily have to drag into buying the older ones, which I think are pretty old these days. And then we have Henry saying, wow, so many War Scrolls and Sons rivaling the Stormcast at this point. I mean, yes. And then probably thinking about Futon, seeing Lumineth go up across the board feels good, doesn't it all? And then saying that Sons seem insanely good in third, get all the buffs and none of the nerfs, apart from everyone will be bringing monster hunting equipment, I imagine. So you'll be prime target for that. And then Guel was saying, I think the Sob should just get Broad as a unique character. Games Workshop should make it happen. Who's Broad? Do we know who Broad is?
Is that the little guy? But that's not his name. Whoever the guy is that's always running away from the guard.
Oh, isn't that Jonas or something? Is that?
Yeah, that's the only person I can think of. But
okay, maybe it's a unique character for the Sons. That's mentioned in the lore. And then Andrea saying Sons can cast the fire damage buff spell on themselves too. It's a fire
damage. The new generic spell that gives +1 damage if you take the artifact. Oh no, the Sons thing, which lets it be a wizard.
Yep. I remember now. And then Andreas is saying that it's Brod the Giant King. I mean, I'm sure Games Workshop's answer to that will be call one of your giants Brod. So going on to the York War Clan, so we got Cragnus, the End of Empires, so gone down 65 points. So people said that at the start of this video, now we've got to him. Yeah, that seems a lot more reasonable, like for him. I feel like if he could fly and various other things and have better movement, I think like 760, I could see where they were heading towards. But yeah, without those maneuverability characteristics you see for a lot of those sort of creatures, those sort of points, yes, 695 seems better value, which is cool. And then you've got the Cruel Boys. So, like, does the internet already know what these guys do, War Scroll wise?
We've seen the War Scrolls, and it isn't looking good.
It isn't looking good, but
No.
absolutely cool model range, though, isn't it?
Yeah, no, cool model range, but yeah, I think they could be really, not good on release. We'll see. But yeah,
again, there's a better time to come, isn't there? So
exactly, but even so, just the War Scrolls are pretty bad, along with the points.
But Yggdrasta looks pretty cool.
Yeah, she looks incredible for 300 points.
Yeah, so that should be the takeaway for the Cruel Boys. So there we go. I haven't read the War Scrolls, so I'm not going to compare those points. But they stayed the same, which is nice. They haven't gone up in points, so I believe that's something we can all celebrate. And then going on to the Bone Splitters, they need to go up in points. Like,
I mean, they only got small increases kind of in line with the game, but probably not.
It's just the Warg God Prophet I mainly saw, but that's because I played against
the War Dog's good.
War
really
Dog.
Good, but he only went up 5. No, like they got small increases. Don't really have much. No, that is the War Dog. The War Dog has like the prayers, and it is a priest, so it's got better with priesty stuff. But yeah, it's Bone Splitters. They're a bunch of green men running around being angry.
Yep, and if you want some more heavily armored bunch of green men running around angry, we have got the Iron Jaws, which is my personal favourite out of the two. I know it's an army that you're working on as well.
Yeah.
Is there anything here that's made you annoyed? Because I'm seeing a fair bit of red.
Brutes going up 20 is weird. Like I'd have accepted 10. But like they were kind of expensive at 130, and now at 150 they're a lot. The Maw Crusher is going to be really fun. It's only gone up 35 at 490.
So with heroic actions and monstrous
and I could give it the artifact for 5 up, feel no pain. Becomes really hard to kill. Should be fun. Other than that, things are pretty fair.
I was gonna say, like, Gore Grunt is going up 10 points. I know a lot of things have gone up 5-10 points and stuff.
Yeah, Ard Boys going down 5 points is nice. You're probably only gonna see 5s, maybe 10s now because of coherency and 32 mil bases and 1-inch reach.
I should say with the Gore Grunters, because it's going to be hard to take large units of them, though. Should they have gone up 10 points?
I was generally only running 3s anyway.
Okay.
Because even 3 fully buffed hit quite hard. But no, like 6 was still good. So, which is sad, but they're still perfectly playable at 170 for sure.
And then you've got Gordrak going up 40 points. And just a little bit off topic, but just something I want to bring up. Obviously, you got heroic actions and monstrous rampages, and Games Workshop said that this was the way to make named characters feel more relevant in the game now and better than the generic alternative builds like Gordrak compared to a Mega Boss. Is there, from what we've seen, any reason why the named version is now somewhat better than the generic one that can take the same heroic action and the same monstrous rampage?
I mean, his command ability's got a bit better because it affects 3 units, so it's kind of getting around the old you can only use a command ability once per phase. But no, you're just running a Maw Crusher, if I'm honest.
Yeah, because it's just you're missing out on artifact command tree, aren't you? And paying more points to do that. Just to catch up in the chat before we move on to the last one, I believe. So we've got Andreas saying, "Can Cragnus get big war buffs then?"
Unless his War Scroll changes, no, because it specifically says that he can't.
Like I say, I think we're going to get a War Clans Battletome coming out very soon, and then Cragnus will be in there, maybe.
Yeah, like he needs a home, but like he won't get the buffs from Big War or anything because he won't have the keywords.
Yeah, but he's gone down some points. So 65, something like that. And then we've got Gloomspite Git, which I know there are some people excited about. So we've got a points decrease for Ripper's Snar Fangs. And then everything went up. But there's quite a few things that have stayed the same. Well, I say that. I think there's about, 5 things that stayed the same. Is there any takes here that you...
It's Gits. They're much the same. I mean, again, I guess you can run Stabbers in 40s still. So I think the thing which hurts is Boingot Bounders. You can only run in 10s now because they can't be battle line.
Yeah.
So like they take up one of your reinforcement slots. Yeah, like the points are probably fair. Again, just minor points increases everywhere. Yeah,
Trolls
no real comment on it.
No. Yeah.
Like Trogs could actually be pretty good. They've got 2, like Rockgut Troggoths have 2 inch reach, I believe. So like coherency doesn't hurt them that much. They've only gone up 5 points. Yeah, like you could maybe see Troggoths doing well, but like it's relative compared to what they were doing before, I should say.
Yeah, the Trog herd's been taken away from them, though, isn't it?
Yeah, that meant they could retreat and charge, which is actually kind of good. But yeah.
Okay, so right, with that, Gloomspite Gits. Andreas saying that you can take Squig Hoppers in 30s now, though.
Why would you when you could take Boingrots?
Squig Hoppers is something that, again, I don't play this army. It's something I looked at. I thought they're probably quite good used as an unreliable objective grabbing unit or something, or a screen, because you could buy them for cheap in units of 5, because I presume they've gone up to units of 10 now. So I kind of feel like they've got worse because you can't take them in units of 5. Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. And just to catch up, see what Quill says about I think this is about Angels. So the biggest hopes for the new battle tome coming, I think Angels should be a little less dependent on war chances for damage buffs. I mean, it's a fair point, because I know there's quite a few things in the Angels battle tome that makes them tick, but one of the biggest things, without a doubt, is just one ability on one war scroll, isn't it? That just someone drums some sticks, points at someone, and gets +1 damage. Maybe take that away from the book. It becomes worse. Yeah,
for sure.
And then Henry saying, really sad days. Was looking at getting a Loom Boss or Mangler. Squig saw the 30 points increase. I mean, 30 points at the end of the day.
Yeah, 30 points extra for Hero Monster. Like, that's normal. It's still good. It's still a really solid pick.
Think of it this way. You're paying 30 points to make your guy, best case scenario, to make your guy +1 to hit and +1 to wound.
Able to heal, able to loads of stuff. I think that counts as 5 models on an objective. No, the Mangler Squid's really, really good.
Yeah, and the whole cannon models for objectives, is that in the GHB? Was that in the
No, that's Corals.
So, yeah, try and remember all.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so the last one before we finish as well. So if anyone's got, because I see there's a bunch of people still in the chat, so if there's anyone's got any questions before we end out, make sure you ask them now. So by the time we go over this, I can look, so I won't miss you. So what are your thoughts on the Ogre Moor tribes then?
Frostlords on Stonehorn got away pretty nicely. They were only +30. Considering the Frostlord on Thundertusk went up by 35, that's really weird. Because you were always taking a Frostlord from Stonehorn, so they're still going to be a problem. 2 up, 5 up, 3 sources of healing, able to do all sorts of stuff. Get +1 to hit very easily, so hits on 3s, wounds on 3s. Yeah, Frostlords are scary. Yetis going up by 10 points is sad times. They've got hit quite hard by points increase, I feel like. In general.
There's a lot of 20, 30 business going on.
The stuff that hasn't gone up is stuff that you didn't really see. And the stuff you did see has gone up by quite a bit. Noblar's up by 20 points is a travesty. The Noblar meta was going to be a thing, not anymore, sadly.
Before it started, yeah.
I mean, you go from now 400+ wounds to 330 wounds in an army.
Yeah, and I mean, talk about Noblars. The Noblar scrap launcher, is there any reason for that to go up in points?
No. But yeah, in general, they do all right. We'll see. I think, yeah, they'll be in much the same place as they were in 2.0, sort of able to do very well if they get good matchups and they get good priorities.
Yeah, cool. Well, there we are. So that is all the point changes for. Oh no, we've got endless spells, but we've kind of already gone through this. Anything that's gone down.
Yeah, these you can't really compare them because every single one has had a war scroll change.
Yeah, okay, cool. We won't talk about that. But that is all of the units for Warhammer Age Sigmar and their point changes that we have gone through. So thank you very much, Alex, for adding your expertise to this video. As I think the way to look at this is try to not be so pessimistic, is to be open-minded. You know, we haven't seen everything yet, like we've repeatedly said in this video. Like there's going to be an FAQ at some point, and the game has changed. I'm not going to keep saying this is the best rule set ever, spur and say that, but the game has changed significantly.
I'd say it is. I'll put my neck out and say it's the best rule set for Age of Sigmar they've done, having played it.
They said ever, which means when they bring 4th edition around, they can't say that that's better because they said ever, as in.
Okay.
Future. Oh no. They haven't future-proofed this, but I'm excited to play my games, what I'm trying to say. And if you're trying to... I think something that's come increasingly clear is that if you have a certain way you play your army, and again, some armies are more flexible than others, but you have a certain way to play your army, and you see points changes here, and you go, your army doesn't work, or you see a core rule change, your army doesn't work. Look at this as an opportunity to try out new ways to play your army. And I think it's nice to have that in a game, to have a shake-up, because especially in lockdown season, basically what we were with COVID, and I know it didn't seem like a very big time to play games, but there was, I'd say, more games of Warhammer Age of Sigmar played because of just TTS. And with that, it just meant that you were maybe playing the same lists with your same army again and again and again and again, that it felt like there were so many games played that we needed to break the mold a little bit of Age of Sigmar, just to allow for you to be more creative. That's what I think, and I think hopefully they've done a good job of it. And it seems like they have. And like I say, if you think there's unnecessary points increases, I reckon they've done that just to make you guys feel better when they decrease it later as the years go on in 3rd edition. So anything else you'd like to add to that, Alex?
No, I don't think so.
No, that's cool. Right. So for anyone who wants to see this for themselves, I will post it in my Discord, so you'll be able to see it with no problems at all, just in case it's a bit small and stuff you see on the screen. And we didn't read through every single one. We just did more like summaries. I'm just going to catch up with the chat, see if we got anything else. Elic was saying that I'm sad that the Scuttle Tide is now 85 points. There might be a war score change. So wait until you see that. And then we've got him saying, also, I'll miss Squigherd being a 70-point battle line. Yep, like say, things will have to change. And then Gwell saying, more tribes continues the endless story of Stonehorns being clearly better than Thundertusk. Yeah, it kind of sounds the same, but Thundertusk used to be really good in 1st edition. So, you know, they did have their reign. And then Shackles will be a must-take for every shooty army, but Shackles could change. Like, do we know what war scrolls have changed for spells?
For endless spells,
yeah.
Every single one of the generic ones has changed. We've seen them. And then
the faction ones.
They've said that every faction one is getting changed.
So it's really quite hard to...
or major. Yeah, so we don't know.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So there's... Can't talk about it because it's just like, I mean, you can say it's shit, but you don't know what it's like. It's like, I don't know, ordering food from a restaurant and complaining about it before you even taste it. Like, I think that's pretty much what it is. Right, so with that, guys, and I thank you all so much for watching this video. If you've just joined and you've gone, bloody hell, it's the end of the video now, you can skip all the way to, or rewind more likely, to the start of this video. You can do that, but what I'd ask you guys to do, if you did enjoy this video, is 3 simple things. If you could smash the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell notification. Why I'm asking you to do that? by liking this video. It helps out the channel massively. It shows the YouTube people like this video and YouTube recommends it to people. Also shows me that you guys like it when I review news, leaks, points, everything like that as well. By subscribing to the channel, that's how the channel grows at the end of the day. The bigger the channel gets, the better the quality of the content gets. And then by ringing that bell button is a huge way to support the channel, as it's probably on the data side of things, the thing the channel lacks the most is people pressing the bell notification. So if you've already liked and you're already subscribed, do me a massive favor and click that bell button as well. It means you'll never miss a future one of my videos also. What I'd like to say as well is if you want to join the Discord so you can see this, click the link in the description of this video. It will take you there. Alex is there. There's a bunch of other people who are in the chat who are there as well. There's always talk going on about news and hobby and also list building. And I think something that we were talking about the other day is making separate channels within the server for list tech and stuff for certain grand alliances. So that's something I'll look into. So yeah, join the great community there. If you feel like someone else will enjoy this video, make sure you share it with them. And what I'd like to say as well is a massive shout out to my YouTube members and my patrons who, because of the mysteries of technology, will not let me put it on the screen today, but I'll shout their names out anyway. And if anyone would like to become an amazing supporter of the channel, click the join button next to the subscribe button. It will allow you to become a member here at Nagash, or click the link to my Patreon on the top of the description down below. What it will allow you to do, become a member, £1 a month at least, or Patreon $1 at least a month. And what that goes is straight to the channel. As I always say, run a YouTube channel, you know, as a business, lose money every month. It's not profitable or anything like that. But by supporting me this way and personally, it shows me that I can generally just dedicate the amount of time and resources and everything else I put into the channel. So if you could support in any way you could, even if it's just like I say $1, £1, generally isn't a waste. Might seem really small, massively helps support this channel and keeps us going. If I didn't have these amazing people I was going to read out, you wouldn't be watching this video today. So my biggest supporter is going to be Filq, who is my vampire lord and zombie dragon, and he's an incredibly generous part of the Age of Nagash community. Thank you so much for your really, really nice and, like I say, generous contribution to keep the channel going there, Filq. It's really kind of you. And then my Morgast, who is Bleed Red. So thank you very much for supporting as a Morgast for a long time now as well, Bleed, because I know you've been doing that. And it's a great support as well. You give the channel that tier. And then my vampires, who, like I say, are the main core of Age of Nagash, are going to be Mir, Stence, Rouse321, David A, Dragoonity, Ronni H, Darren L, SpareBear, Krista H, Northdrop, Nathan F, Andrew G, Ben C, Wiggy Whooty, and Anthony R. Thank you all so much for supporting me on that tier, because it is, again, a very generous of you. And then my Necromancers was Jacq.l, RadiationRiley, AW77, Dice Sagas, WolfNick, Michal W, Cranky Wombat, Madcap, Christopher C, Krista F, James S, Thomas B, Steve T, James T, Patrick F, JJ, R. Christopher, Sception, Nathan S. Thank you all so much for allowing me to keep up and doing this and try and help people get into Age of Sigmar and continue the Age of Sigmar journey to allow me to help try and do what I can to spread this community that we all love and enjoy. And if anyone would like to become one of these amazing people, like I say, click the join button, link to the Patreon. Anything you can give would be absolutely amazing. Can't do that though, no worries at all. All I ask, if you do enjoy the video, like, subscribe, and press the bell notification. 3 clicks you can press within a second, and also is absolutely free, which is the best thing. But above anything else, guys, I'm just really glad that you came and checked out this video today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Again, thank you very much, Alex, for joining in today's videos. I know you've been joining quite a few of these. And yeah, so until next time, guys, remember to stay safe, stay hygienic, wear a mask. Make sure you wash your hands unless you're playing Nurgle or Slaanesh. So then it means you just roll better. Generally, it doesn't matter about the point increases. You'll be fine. And then more importantly, though, until next time, is remember that Nagash is all and all is one in Nagash.